Muslim sister will ask you to say something about your understanding of living well or smooth departure. Ustazah Maricar.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much for having me here today. Even though 2 days back I'm not really feeling well, I have a cough, and thanks to God I get back my voice. Okay, let me start with it. Thank you. I feel very great and honored to be surrounded with all the professionals in our community. Okay, let me start with the verses in the chapter in Quran. It mentions that in chapter 3, verses 185, Kullu nafsin za'ikatil maut. It means that every human being born to taste death. It means that we will face death. And the preparation for ourselves is one of the things that we feel taboo, right? We don't want to talk about it. And maybe some people avoid to talk about it, and we don't want to listen about it. But I feel honored to be with all of you. We want to talk about it, how our preparation for our death, and how can we leave our loved one. This reminds me with one question of my student asked me, Ustazah, I love my mother very much. I love my parents very much. How much can I do for them when they leave this world? So I told her, yes, when we love our loved one, it's such a simple thing we can do is doing good to any human, even to the animal, to the trees, to the plant, to anything. We do good to every human in this world. We provide our best, okay? And I remember when I do my work in Club Hill, the word heal, H-E-A-L, which Dr. Radia make it as in our organization, is so powerful word. Heal, we have a hope. Our hope to meet our loved one when after we death. We want to be with them, to continue, because the separation is temporary. And what can we do? Our hope. And we empower ourselves to do good to all humankind in this world, whoever they are, what religious they are. I'm proud to be Singaporean. I'm proud to tell people over the world that I'm happy to be with our neighbors, even though they are not Muslim. They are non-Muslim. We share. So the word beside empowerment, we also have acceptance about the death. It can happen to anybody, our loved one. And the grief stages that we have to process, it might take days, it might take weeks, it might take months, it might take years. Doing my counseling session with my clients, sometimes I cannot feel how difficult for them to let go, how difficult for them to let go the memories with their loved one. Yeah, in that process, the grief, there is a stages of grief where there is a stage that we are in the denial stage, is really our loved one not with us, how the process of to continue our life, how to live without them. These are the difficulties that they are facing. So, and then another stage is sometimes we might angry with our Lord. Why? Why did He take away our loved one? These are the process. It takes more time for our client. And sometimes, years. I met one client, it's about 2 years the husband passed away. It's difficult for her to leave. Even, she says she cannot leave the house to go to the restaurant next to the place because it reminds her about her husband. Doing the process of grieving for everybody is quite difficult. And the denial stage, because of our lifestyle that we live with our loved one. So the word empowerment, then we also have the word acceptance for our loved one to let go, for us to move on with life. So there is things that people asking, how can we help our neighbors, friends, if in this situation, right? By telling them about okay, this is what Quran say, this is what Islam say. It's not easy because in that situation they are processing with their emotional. So we need to listen. As a counselor, I think there is the tips that skills that I'm using when I meet my client in the stage of grieving. Yeah, listening to their emotion which they shared. And the process of also the word healing is love. Love we give to our loved one, our friends, our relative, our neighbors. Okay, so one of the practice in Islam, if someone pass away, if like example, my relative pass away, okay, I will prepare some food for them. It's just to show, because they are in the process of preoccupied, they are emotional. So we provide food for them to show us that we care and we are there for them by asking, maybe call, maybe sometime, we are busy with our daily activities. We still can, drop by for 5 minutes or 10 minutes by asking how are they and helping them. In the process of also in Islam, sometimes we don't want to burden our loved one, maybe the person who are in facing like the widow, they have maybe a financial difficulties. So for the person who are visiting, if it's too long for them to provide food, so that are the things that we avoid. So we provide them food, but not for them to provide us food because they are in the situation of grief. So they are practicing in part of Islam. And also, when we receive the news from someone who passed away, we will say, Inna lillahi wa inna ilahi raji'un. It also educate ourselves to say that from God we come and we will go back to Him, to our Lord. So these are also the stage that we are teaching ourselves to the acceptance of the death. So another thing is that I want to share is a student asked, how can I continue to do good for my parents? I say there's 3 things that we live in this world. What is charity? So if your parents, example, love to do charity, if you have some, you continue to do the charity for them. And also for us, those who are intelligent person, are knowledgeable person in religion, we are teaching good to people. So the good deed will continuously flow for us to receive a reward. So another thing is also we call it sadaqatul jariyah, or we call it we have a good children. We brought up them with knowledge. Ibn Salih, that means a good children. We bring up them with a religious background example, and they're doing a good deed to other people. That will be continue for us to receive the good deed when we in our death time. So is this done? Okay, I also would like to share about the Fardu Kifaya. Fardu Kifaya, it means that in a community, there must be a person that know how to handle the janazah, that means the funeral. So at least like I myself, I know about religion background. So sometimes they will contact us. So example, recently in 2014, there's a death of my brother in a family members. So since I know about the religion background, so we share. I coach them, helping them to tell them what do and don'ts in religion. So in this situation, the calmness and the acceptance for the individual is quite difficult, but we have to face it. By crying is allowed in Islam, but not to show by shouting or yelling or anything, because it needs to be a peaceful situation. So that is what we are doing in Islam. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ustazah. We must have noticed that some words are already commonly used by our 3 speakers. One of them is love. They all talk about love. Love is so common to all, and we want to live in love, and we want to let people live in love as well. And of course, all of them also talk about death is not the end. For one religion, it is about meeting God. For another religion, is about expecting another life. So it's And for Islam, this statement that, you come from God, you go back to God, yeah? So you can see that there's so much in common about the different religions that we practice, and all focusing on the sense that the material life that we have is not the only life. There is something beyond. And so that's what we have been hearing.